And welcome back to Vanessa's podcast. Today I'm going to talk about hyperfocus and scatterfocus. Those are like two things that you need to know about if you want to master your focus, your concentration, and being able to do so many things, accomplish so many goals, have solution to your problems and get things done, and don't allow any wandering worries and things that don't really matter stops you from being able to accomplish all those goals. So let's talk about why focus matter. Attention is everywhere. So in focusing on other people, I've made a lot of observation about what those people are focusing on. In any given moment, we are all focusing on something. Even if we just lost in our internal thoughts, let's just take a glance through the dinner. I turned my attention first to the two 20-something girls at the table to my left, who are mostly focusing on their smartphone instead of each other. Between bots and texting, they flip their phone face down on the table. This, it seems, is a pretty pointless gesture. They pick them back up 30 seconds later. While I can't make out their every word, I can tell they're skimming the surface of a conversation they could be having there with each other in person, but their attention is elsewhere. So here's an example of somebody who is not focusing on the moment present and just lost in useless focus, social media, gossip news, trash magazine, not something that is going to be constructive for your day or bring any result or activate your smart sensor in your brain or anything like this. So, how to better focus? So the number one is put your phone out of sight. When your mind is even slightly resisting a task, it will look for some novel things to focus on. Our smartphones are a great example. They provide an endless stream of bite-sized, delicious information for our brain to consume. So distraction, interruption are infinitely easier to deal with before they become a temptation. Start seeing your smartphone for what it really is, a productivity black hole that sits in your pocket. So that's exactly what it is. It's just a black hole and it's a distraction. And the amount of time that we spend on our phone and our computer, it's all this time that we are not being productive. It's never healthy to be dependent on something addictive, shiny, rectangular device included. Mind your environment. Look up and around you. Where are you reading this book? How likely are you to be distracted or interrupted as you read? And is there a place you could go to avoid those distractions? So modifying your environment is one of the top ways to cultivate your focus. The most focused, conducive environment are those in which you're interrupted and distracted the least. So make a distraction list. And maintain that list and have it handy with you so you don't allow yourself to be distracted. When you notice your focus is wavering, your ability to focus isn't limitless. While you can improve your attention span, it's only a matter of time until it begins to waver. It often takes the form of your mind wandering away from the words on your page to the thoughts in your head. This is perfectly normal and human. And as we'll see later, this wandering can be remarkably powerful when harnessed. So now let's talk about autopilot mode. Take for example the last book that you read. One day you were reading a book will remind you of something, and your autopilot mode switched on while you were reading, and suddenly you found yourself doing something else than reading the book you were reading, because your mind went into that wonder focus, in attention focus. So your autopilot mode guides you through action and repetitive routines that your autopilot is already aware of. So we typically manage our attention on autopilot. So when we receive an email from a boss, we instinctively stop what we're doing to respond to it. When someone has posted a picture of us online, we check to see how we look. Then click to read what the poster said about us. When we're talking with a coworker or loved one, we automatically focus on forming clever response in our head before she finishes her thoughts. One of the most underrated skills, letting other people finish their sentence before starting yours. The more we can manage our attention with an intention, the more focused, productive, and creative we become. How much of your attention are you directing to a paragraph you're reading? Are you focused on it 100%, 85%, 50%? How has your level of focus changed over time, especially as you move from one environment to another? How frequently has your mind wandered from the words of page to the thoughts in your head? Eyes skimming focus free until you caught yourself and turn back in. Even the most experienced focus readers have this mind-wandering episodes. How our mind refuses to shut off when we're laying in bed at night. Why, at large, part of us wants to sleep because we have things to do in the morning. Our mind insists on reliving the entire day. How our mind brings up cringe-worthy memory at the worst possible time. Where do these thoughts come from? How incredible ideas and insight comes to us while your mind is wandering in the shower, but the same insight don't strike when we need them the most. The fourth type of task. In many ways, managing your attention is like choosing what to watch on Netflix. When you first launch the website, you're presented with a landing page highlighting just a few of the many shows that are available. The Netflix homepage is like a fork in the road, only instead of 2 paths forward, there are 1,000. Taking some of those paths will leave you feeling happy. Some will mindlessly entertain you, and others will teach you something useful. Deciding where to direct our attention presents a similar fork in the road. Only the pathway leads to the innumerable things on which we can choose to focus. So by example, here are 4 types of tasks. There's the unattractive and productive task, which is necessary work. There is the attractive and productive task, which is the purposeful work, and there's the unproductive and unattractive task, which is the unnecessary work, and there's the unproductive and attractive task, which is the distracting work. Attention is the most powerful tool we have to live a good life and get stuff done. But our ability to focus is constrained in too many ways. Without the temporary mental scratchpad, we'd be mindlessly reacting to whatever was happening in the world around us. So when it comes to holding information in a temporary memory, first, the magic number in which our brain is capable shrinks from 40 to 4. Try to memorize the following list of names and then write them down. Here's an example. Ardeen, Rick, Ryan, Lucinda, Louise, Martin, Kelsey, Sinisa, Dwight, and Bryce. So write that down on a page, piece of paper, close your eyes, try to memorize as many names as you can. And then open your eyes and try to mention a few names. When asked to write the names they remember, some people are able to recall only 3. Whoever can manage 5, 6, or 7. The average number is 4. In the context, the number 4 refers to unique chunks of information. So use that concept of chunking things together to better remember any number of practical things throughout the day. This morning I was listening to another book while getting grocery, a difficult combination to do simultaneously. I needed to buy 3 things: celery, hummus, and crackers. When I walk into the store, I visualize a triangle with the location of each of the 3 items as one of its points. Instead of struggling to remember my grocery list independently, I was able to walk the triangle, visualizing a meal consisting of the same 3 ingredients would have done the trick too, and is probably an even simpler idea. So now let's talk about attentional space. What's filling your attentional space? Let's do a quick check-in. So is the book you're reading is consuming 100% of your attentional space? Are you devoting a third of your attention to thinking about your smartphone by your side? Is part of your mind planning what it'll do after completing your book? Are you worrying about something? Is there any concern or anxiety thoughts popping up out of nowhere? Directing your mental gaze to what is currently occupying your attentional space can be an odd exercise that we rarely notice what has taken hold of our attention, but spend most of the time totally immersed in what we're experiencing. There's a term for this, is meta-awareness. Becoming aware of what you're thinking about is one of the best practices for managing your attention. So be aware. Whether you're writing an email, taking part of a conference call, watching a TV show, having dinner with your family, you're essentially spending half of your time and attention on what's not in front of you, lost in the past or calculating the future. That's a lot of time and attention to waste. While there's an immense value in letting your mind scatter, most time we do better to focus on the present. Simply noticing what is occupying our attentional space has been shown to make us more productive. So why not do that? If you pay attention on what's on your mind, which is admittedly hard to do, for more than a minute or so, you'll notice that the content of your attentional space is constantly changing. You'll understand that it's truly